Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John's Reports for the 23rd. Well, we're starting off the week with a weak daily signal, but within a pretty strong shakeout, relatively speaking. So my guess is that if we do see any weakness, it's likely to be short-lived as we make another run towards the highs, simply because we're in rising gold under this configuration and really haven't seen a complete breakdown yet of the Power Mode 2 directional below the 13. We're also at a constriction point right here where that tends to break out in the direction. With steel reset, odds are pretty good that we continue the run. And obviously we're starting off pretty decent because after the court cases, looks a little more definite for Biden in the market's view, which means big stimulus in their opinion. So that's why the market would be very excited about that, because more liquidity just means easy money. Easy money means higher prices and inflation, which has got to be accounted for in a move higher for as we get. Well, my talk was towards the 4,000. What are we looking at here? We're still at the 36 range, so a little ways to go. Not an issue. Euro pumping up because of that projected idea for stimulus is definitely going to drive the euro higher, because the ECB is certainly not going to be able to match that. So the potential devaluation of U.S. currency with regards to that gives it room. Plus the Fed really enjoys having a little bit higher euro just to bolster U.S. exports from a gold standpoint. Nothing yet. This should be the start of the potential for a move, because with the narrowing of that idea that Biden's going to be there, they know that spending is going to be significantly higher than it would be on a second Trump move. From an intraday standpoint, we had some pretty nice stuff take place. We had the relatively clean buys that were coming off of improved shakeouts there. Then we had the turnarounds where we would reach peaks even in rising gold in these setups. But really what we were playing for would be just softness in this particular case, because you know that you're only going to get a short-lived retrace, particularly if you have some positive extremes. We really weren't looking at any of those at that particular point, which is why I did trade kind of back and forth for the most part. The only advantage to doing it is when you're between the 100% and that 76%, you've got a range if you can collect towards the middle top of the area, and that usually gives you enough room, because you're going to get a dip down below it, even if you get a pop back up to the 100%. So that's the easiest way to play that one. When we finally did get cleaner DOC, where we had a little bit of that giant red pop up on the directional, which pointed to the potential for some softness, we ended up with lower shakeout. And as soon as that began to dip right there, we had the same steel orange. Green was still slightly ahead at this particular point, so even if you waited another bar, you'd be able to see it. Wouldn't be that far off the trail at that particular point. And then sure enough, we get a nice dip, but where the first one didn't give us a move of orange below red, you did get it on the secondary one, and that produced a pop that it's still, if you were late to it, it gave you a chance, and you might have thought, well, no, it's going to make that second leg lower as it starts to come back towards the bottom. But no, you have green over cyan. Still produced a little bit of softness with the pop back up of the cyan over the steel, but directional was still heading in the right motif. You get another one of the crossover signals right here, and then a full DOC spread just after it. That led to another dip right back down. There really wasn't any positive extremes developing or anything like that was suggesting that we had any major fills. So for the most part, it was just looking back and forth. And I remember, I was trading this kind of muck every time I was getting to the highs and finding the weak spreads. I would take those, and it wasn't really a whole lot until we got towards the end of the day, and that's when it got really fun, because we ended up with some of the little soft shorts that then produced actually a nice move down to the previous algo that we had down here at the 50-56 range. A little bit of a pop-up, but it seemed kind of weak. And then when we got that clean steel below, orange above, green failing, and then roll over right at the 0 point. I was like, okay. I was excited just for a move back down to the 55 range or so. But as it got close to that, we had no compelling change yet. Wasn't until, well, I got out right at the market close, which was back over here. By the time it finished out at the beginning turnaround, we started off pretty decent for the morning run and basically just filled all that back in and brought us all the way back up to the same high. So we're looking strong at this particular point. I think we'll just check for some back and forth action, especially now that steel's rising, so the potential for that to see a flattening out of the gold here should present some opportunities, because we have a couple of positive extremes taking us right back to the same 66 algo level. No shock there. We had this other one that was right in between the two, right around the 60 range. So it's a few points above and a few points below, kind of splits the middle of it. But worth paying note, because they'll probably see some action. As always, though, I will update anything relevant on the Skype chat. Trade well. Talk to you later.